priority outcomes or initiatives do you expect from WOOF 13 in Baku?
Well, thank you for having me, and to have WOOF in Baku is an incredible opportunity to showcase what is happening in Azerbaijan, but at the same time to build on other WOOFs. This is the 13th. And what we expect is that we will move from dialogue to seeing how we implement the investments in a world where we are going to be over 70% in urban settings by 2050. We have the 2030 agenda to meet, another 5 years. And the city's goal is an important one, but it sits within an economy that needs to grow with people and with urban settings, a central part of the investments that are made.
How do you assess Azerbaijan's role in hosting major international dialogue platforms such as WOOF 13?
Well, we are very proud of the hosting and the partnering that we've had with Azerbaijan. It has many examples. I was here at the COP on climate. 2 years later, I've also seen growth in your urban settings. And that has been inclusive. Young people are part of that. And I think that what you have and the leadership that Azerbaijan has is to see more inclusive cities, to see a way that you've had the balance between what has been the traditions and the cultures of the generations gone by to the new world. And the opportunities of technology and new designs and urbanization. So this is not just a conference in a few rooms, it's a conference in a city, and a city that is progressive.
How do you assess the current cooperation between the United Nations and Azerbaijan, and what new opportunities do you see for expanding this partnership, particularly in the areas of sustainable development and urban planning and post-conflict reconstruction?
Well, we have a very good and long relationship with Azerbaijan. We have a footprint here in which we have our resident coordinator and the country team, a number of agencies that represent different expertise, and so we have continued to work on the sustainable development agenda with Azerbaijan and their priorities. We have, of course, also been involved in the journey that Azerbaijan has taken to peace. Sustaining that peace requires so much more effort, so what we see in Karabakh and the investments in systems, in the small and medium-scale industries, in the infrastructure and the quality of it, is one about reintegration into a country where their equality is at the center of it. So the relationship is growing. It's growing not just in national priorities, but also Azerbaijan's leadership in the region. And that's important because people look up to Azerbaijan in the progress that they've made, the possibilities of the partnerships. It is difficult today because the geopolitical tensions and the neighbors' conflict is there right now, but we believe that together we can overcome. So not just Azerbaijan, the region, but at the global level too, we see Azerbaijan's voice in the General Assembly at the United Nations.
Housing affordability remains a serious issue globally. What advancing practical solutions does the UN support for ensuring affordable and inclusive housing?
I think the biggest challenge we have is looking at the financial structures that do not enable access to affordable housing. And we have long talked about first making available finance for countries. That requires us looking at the financial architecture internationally, regionally, that will allow investors into an environment that is conducive enough to open up financing for housing. It is more than a government responsibility, it's also the private sector, it's private investors, and all of that has to be done recognizing the diversity of one's community. Those that don't have necessarily the means to do so need not to be left behind. So we have to find different finance solutions for that. Governments perhaps have to step in there. But then there are others who are on this ladder of growth, and they also need to be accompanied, whether it is women, young people, and the elderly. I mean, we're talking about a whole life cycle of of a dwelling, of a home, and that includes elderly people. We're living longer today. Where are you in your communities, and how are we making room for them?
How does the United Nations see the future of urban diplomacy and cross-regional city cooperation?
We're very hopeful. The urban agenda that has been committed to over the decades is one in which we see, as we saw this time, it's growing. The engagement is growing. So we're very hopeful that even in times of conflict, in times of geopolitical tensions, in times where financing is not always there for development, we still are hopeful that we're able to make some inroads in some countries and use them to say this can be done, and that we can show leadership by the practice that has succeeded, and to bring more people into the tent to gain from urbanization. We have an ambitious agenda, and the Sustainable Development Goals are much about an integrated approach. The cities and the urban agenda is a part of that, and so it's very important that we move this together, and we're very hopeful that this can happen if we continue to partner this way. We continue to put visibility on the issues, but we also find the solutions together.